Hello everyone, welcome back to again on my YouTube channels and on Facebook. To the front of you, here I have sitting here taking a new topic from the book of 10th class, and that book name here, Footprints Without Feet. Which topic about today I have to show over the beyond all of you that topic name here, Footprints Without Feet. This is very hilarious story from the book of 10th class. A student who is in 10th class, first of all, I would like to tell to my all dear student, you must watch this video because this video I am going to magnify in my own language. As much as concept I am going to have to you from the part of this story, you all students will have to listen very closely. If you go to listen to very attentively of that completely part of that story concept, you will feel to very comfort, you will feel to very cognize the back for understanding of all those concept. Whatever concept will be magnified by me, whatever concept will be provided by me through of this video, that will be very helpful for you all student. So my all viewer, my all student, you must watch that video with very carefully. Now I am going to tell you some strategy for improving of English, because in my every video I keep on telling of that same matter. If any person, if any students who is getting a little bit nuisance the back for learning, whether the back for getting great performance in English, and if you are feeling sometimes there is very big obstructor in my life, I am telling of you have not need to think such kinds of the NIF meter. You have not need to think like of any dead duck meter. You have not need to think of any what poppycock meter. You have not need to think of any what creamy type of meter. You have to think exactly what positivity meter. If you think of any positivity meter, then really your mind will be exactly straight, and you will be able to talk any kinds of the topic inciting to very well. And if you will not keep your mind exactly concentrated, and if you want to speak of any kinds of the thing consistently, you will not be able to speak very well. So I am telling you, my old student, if you are wanting to make to very fluency for speaking, you will have to keep up your mind exactly consistency, and before speaking of any kinds of the topic, you will have to think of that, means what am I going to speak about of that meter. Also you will have to think, then the topic you will be able to talk with very carefully, and you will be able to talk like a very splendid way. And if you are thinking any other kinds of the meter and you are talking just the front of any words, then really our concept that will not be good. So when you are talking of any kinds of the topics about that topic, just you should keep exactly in the front mind, and you talk exactly well about of that topic, then that will be spoken by you well. Because currently I am looking mostly students, when they start to talk of any kinds of the meter at that moment, just they start to take to so different kinds of the hovering point. I am telling you, you have not need to speak of any hovering point. You have not need to fumble anywhere while speaking. If you will live in pale or male, then sure you will not be able to speak to any kinds of the thing too well. I am just saying to you, you have not need to haggle anywhere while speaking. You speak exactly, carefully, being carefree you talk of any kinds of the matter. If you will live exactly in carefree minds, you will be able to talk to any kinds of the matter too very well. And if you will not live in carefree minds, and if you want to talk of any kinds of the things by force, then that will not be spoken by you like of trained easily. I am telling you, you talk exactly every times using of some similar words, similar sentences. If you will use some similar words or sentences, then really you will feel to yourself, oh, I have good skills. Like this meter automatically will be thought by you, and also confidence level that will be increased day by day. If you will practice for talking of any kinds of the matter, then sure our confidence level that will be evolved. So I'm just saying to please try to enhance of our confidence level. And if you are wanting to talk of any kinds of the matter, and if any abasement it is going inside of your heart, then really you will not be able to overcome from that. I am telling of you, when you speak at that time, you speak with confidently, just being free of any stress. If any stress there is in your minds, then you keep distance from the mind while talking. Then also it will help of you for making of good fluency for speaking. Many of the points I have given of you in initial of this video, I am telling of you, please you follow throughout of that points. And if you follow this throughout of that point, then really it will be very helpful for you for making the exam. Now let me come on the point. This point about I have to discuss the beyond of view. That topic about just I am going to tell to you. What is the topic? The front of view. The topic is here: footprints without feet. This is the fifth chapter of footprints without foot books. And now just I am going to tell to you in this topic. It first all of you have need to understand footprints without feet means what tells us. At first all of you have need to understand footprints without feet means without feet there was what? Footprints. There was impression of feet. How without feet there was coming what? Footprints. About of that all of you have to read in this video. I am just saying to you, you all students, just come on exactly consistency mind and you start to listen, because just I am going to tell of that all kinds of the story according of my own language. Means I will magnify according of my own thinking way. As I am thinking, whether as I have thought about that story concept, in the same way also I will have of different kinds of the sentences from the part of that story. It will help of you for grasping well. It will help of you for apprehending well. If I will tell of you this story according of my own language then. And if you will read according of your book language, then for some time you will feel what? Some hustle for understanding. That's why I thought that I will have to tell of that completely part of that story according of my way, according of my language. So you all student, please just start to listen carefully. Now, just I am going to tell to you in this story, in footprints without feet, there are mainly two characters. First is here one Griffin named scientist. And in this story, the writer has fortified, means he is like a very crazy scientist. Means whatever he made plan for doing of anything, he did. Whatever he thought for doing, he did that. Now, the front of Griffins, there was one challenge. The people you see, no any persons can discover of any kinds of the drugs. From that drugs, the human's body would be transparented. Means like this meters was challenged by someone, but when Griffin heard of that kinds of the meters by anyone at that times, just he thought that if anything can be done by any person, then why not also these kinds of the drugs will be discovered. Also this is possible, means on this earth there is not of any kinds of work that is impossible for doing. If I will use of my deep mind or the extra mind, sure I can explore of that kinds of the medicine, that kinds of the drugs. From that I can make transparent body. And after that he started to hard work the back for searching of that kinds of the medicine. And one day he searched, but when he searched, the people were not believing on him. Means actually also the human body could be transparented. Means no any peoples who were believing on Griffin. Then just he thought that okay, if no anybody is believing, then I should experiment myself. And just he used of that medicine. Means he gulped of that medicine. He swallowed of that medicines to himself. After swallowing of that medicines, after sometimes his body started to become vanished. After sometimes exactly his body became vanished, but where there was cloth in the body of Griffin, in that place it was looked. Means only cloth was looking, but the parts of body it was not looking. Then just he decided, if my cloth will be looked, then the people will see to me. So just he put off completely part of clothes, and he became exactly bare body. When he became exactly bare body, then just he struck fire in that home, means where he was living in that home, just he struck. After stalking that when that house started to burn, then he decided, if I will stay in this place, then really I will be caught by that house owner, because also he was not living in his own house. He was living in a rented house. When he struck the fire in that house at night times, then just he decided, if it will become to morning and the people whose home is this, that owner of this house, if he will see to me, then really he will kill to me. So he decided to flee away from that place, and just he became what, bare body. When he became exactly bare body, then his body was vanished, and when his body was vanished, then just he decided to go where, London. He decided to go London. When he started to go London, then actually it was the month of, I think, December. And in that month, you are knowing already that no more of December months, in that times in morning or evening, we feel some what, shivering, we feel some shuddering, we feel some cold. So also he was feeling cold insanely, because he was exactly bare body. In the body of that griffin there was not of any kinds of the cloth. When he reached London, then he was wandering in the street of London, becoming homeless. And also, in this story, there is told by the writers, he was like of loveless person, and also he was called what, homeless, because he had not of any kinds of the homes. Means he had not his own home. That's why he is called in this story, he was homeless and loveless person. When he went in London street, then whole day he kept once warning here and there. And when it started to become what, evening, at that time he was feeling too very cold insidely. When he started to feel too very cool, then he started to shiver. When he started to uh, tremble, then just he started to search out of any way to save from that bitterly cold. He thought that how to save. And when he reached in every street of London, then he saw that there was one cloth shop. He decided to enter inside of that one cloth shop, and when he went there, then he saw that there was already shopkeeper. He started to take out the chance to enter inside of that shop. When he was standing in the front of that one cloth shop, at that time no anybody could see, no anybody can see, because he was not looking exactly. His body was like of air, means his body had been transparent. So, and no any person could see to him. Just he decided to enter in that warm cloth shop. When it became the time about 10 o'clock, means when it became the time for closing of the shop, and when the shopkeeper started to come out from that shop, at that time just he entered inside of that room, and shopkeeper went away to closing of that shop shutter. When he entered inside of that shop, then just he broke the box and took out some warm cloth, and just he put one of that. When he dressed up fully, then he felt some comfortable from that bitterly colds, and he was very hungry also at that time, because from whole day he had nothing eaten, means he had not eaten of any kinds of the things. So he was exactly appetite. He started to think that, but now I have been what, dressed up, but I have need here what, food for eating. But just beside of that shop there was one restaurant, and he entered inside of that restaurant. In that restaurant, when he went, then he saw in that restaurant kitchen there were so different kinds of the varieties as sweet meats and also cold meat. These all kinds of the things it was there. He ate, being gratified. When he ate exactly of those all kinds of the things, then again he decided to stay in that same warm cloth shop. And when he came again in that warm cloth shop, then just he laid on that quilt, on that cushion, which cushion was spreaded for public sitting. On the same place also he laid, and he slept there. When he slept, and when it became next morning times, about 9 or 10 o'clock, when the shopkeepers used to open the shop at that time, also the shopkeeper came and just opened the shutter of that shop as a stage. Shopkeepers opened up that shutter, just gripping each aback, and just he looks, two persons have come and two persons have opened up that shop. When he saw that two persons standing on the main gate of that shop, just gripping it stood up from that place, and just he starts to flee away. Means he started to run from that place. When two shopkeeper saw of that persons running, then just two shopkeepers abacked, also two shopkeepers startled. My God, when at night times we went to closing of this shop, at that time I had not seen of any person inside of this shop. But how did he enter inside of this shop? Like this matter, it was thought by both shopkeeper who was standing and whose it was shop. That person started to think like this matter, and when Griffin started to flee away, leaving of that shop, also two shopkeepers started to follow that person. Means also shopkeepers are going to run the back of that Griffin. Griffin is going to run hit, means on and on, and also the back of Griffin, two shopkeepers are going to follow. Means two shopkeepers are wanting to catch of Griffin. But when Griffin went to some distance and continually two shopkeepers started to follow, then just he decided, if I will be running like this, then one times really I will be caught by that person. So just he decided to use of that medicine, and he just gulped of that medicine. After gulping of that medicine, after some times, just his body started to become vanished. And when his body started to become vanished, then his cloth was looking. When two shopkeepers saw that, means which is the body parts that is not looking, only clothes it is looking, then also two shopkeepers started to follow, looking of that cloth running. Means in which directions that cloth was going, in the same direction also both shopkeepers started to go. Then just Griffin started to think of that, my God, also this time both shopkeepers are still following to me, then what is the reason? Then he just saw his body, then he saw in his body actually cloth was looking. So just he decided to put off that cloth, and exactly he got off that whole cloth. When he got off that whole cloth, then his body became exactly vanished. But when his body became exactly vanished, then he started to run the way of any muddy street in London. When he started to run the way of muddy street, then he thought that actually when now my body has been exactly vanished, then two shopkeepers will not follow to me. But when he looked back, then again he is looking, two shopkeepers even if were following of that Griffin. He thought that, my God, my body is not looking exactly, even if two shopkeepers are still following to me. What is the reason? What looking me? They both are following. Just he saw in which street he was crossing. That street was muddy street, and in that muddy his footprints it was coming out. Means footprints that was coming out, the impression of feet it was coming. Looking of that impression of his feet, just he decided, oh, looking of my footprints, these shopkeepers are following to me, don't worry. After that, just he reached in highway, and when he reached in highway, in road, then his footprints did not start to come. When footprint did not start to come, then just two shopkeepers just lapped back. Means two shopkeepers that started to look left and right, back and front. Means in all over the direction, just both shopkeepers started to say. When two shopkeepers did not see of that coming out of that footprints, then both deputed to follow that griffin. And again, two shopkeepers came back to shop. When it became second day, whole day, griffin also second day kept on wandering in all of the place. And when again in second day, when it start to become what evening, just he start to feel again what same shivering. He started to feel what cold. When he started to feel cold, just again he started to search out of any shop for saving from cold, and he decided to enter in any dramatical shop. Means where there is available of any kinds of the drama things in that shop, he decided to enter. And when it became evening time, just he entered. Being Venice in a dramatical shop, when he entered in that dramatical shop, then he saw there were so many staff. There were so many servants who was busy to giving off different kinds of the thing of any customer who was in that shop. When Griffin entered in that shop, then just he started to kill each another. He started to beat each another. When he started to beat to each another, then all of the people, all of the staff, all of the you can say that also customer started to cry. Oh my God, who is beating us? There is not looking anybody. Even if we are being beaten by anyone, who is there? Who is there? Like this matter, it was being thought by all those persons who was inside of that dramatical shop. When all of the peoples fainted, all of the people pitied, then just Griffin pulled out of that drawer, and in that drawer there were so much money. Means there was so much money, and he took out of that money. After taking out that money, just he decided to wear some cloth, and just he wore what cloth, means he put one also overcoat, and also he uh, used what whisker, beard. He also put one what false ear, false nose, and also he used what false eyebrow, and also he used finally what a hat. When he wore such kinds of the things, then he started to look some amazing. Means he started to look some surprising way. He was looking like of exactly a splendid way. And after wearing and after stealing of some money, he decided to go in any village, and he started to think of that if I will stay till longer time in this London, then really I will be caught and I will be beaten by any of the person. So just he decided to come out from that London's, and he just booked an inn. Means he booked two rooms and inn. When he booked two rooms and inn, that place, means where he booked of that inn, that village name was Iping name village. He booked a two room and inn. When he booked, then just he caught the train, and after catching the train, just he went in Iping name's village. When he went there, then now the point is coming here. Who was the owners of that inn? Her name was Mrs. Hall. Mrs. Hall was the owners of that inn where Griffin booked of that inn. When he went there, then Mrs. Hall saw Griffin has lots of the money. When Griffin saw that Mrs. Hall always she was coming in the room of Griffin. Griffin started to think of that if exactly she will come like this in my room, then one day I will be involved in very big problem. Means I will be coaxed by this of Mrs. Hall, because also Mrs. Hall was like of any greedy woman. Looking of that money, Mrs. Hall was wanting to make friend with Griffin, and Griffin was thinking of that if she will make me friend, then really she will rob of my whole money. That's why one day just Griffin became very angry on Mrs. Hall and told, "Hey, I am telling you 1 meter. You take care. From today, you do not come in my room because already I have given this room rent. There is no dues or room rent. Then why are you coming in my room again and again? If you come like this, it's not good for you." Like this meter, it was told by Griffins to coming in very punishment. When Mrs. Hall heard like this meter, it was told by Griffins, it was exactly very hard meter. Then Mrs. Hall was thinking, my God, really I have chosen of any bad person. I was thinking about of this person. He is good and he is very what mugged type person. He is like of any gullible person, but I think he is not like that as I am thinking about of this person, because he is looking like a very eccentric mind person. He is like looking like a exactly American person. He is not wanting to make friends with me. After that, so when Griffin told of that kinds of the meter to very hardly of that Mrs. Hall, then she decided not to go again in the room of Griffin. Day to day, it was going to pass, and as much as money it was stolen by Griffins from London's, that all money also he started to invest day to day. But one day, Mrs. Hall came to Griffin for asking of against some rupees. At that times, Griffin told exactly the front of Mrs. Hall, I have not of any rupees. Means I have not money. I think the room rents which money was given by Griffin of that Mrs. Hall, that validity of that room, it was over. That's why Mrs. Halls went to Griffin after some days for asking of that room rent. At that times, straightly he said that I have not of any rupees. You wait some time after, whether some days after, I will give of you. One day, Mrs. Hall ate night. He woke up and he felt some toilet, whether he felt of any other kinds of the thing, and where was the room of Griffin? Through of that room also, she was coming out from her home to road. When 12 o'clock night, when she woke up and when she came out, and when she reached the front of the Griffin rooms, then just she is aback. And in the same time, before sometimes, Griffin went inside of that temple. Means where was that inn? Beside of that inn there was temple, and inside of that temples he entered for stealing some money. When he was entered in that place, at that times he saw there was clergy men and women. Means there was worshipper or worshippers who was worshipping in that temples. Both also had sitting beside of that temple. When Griffin went being what? Exactly in disappeared body, and when he started to take out what some coins from that donation box from that temple, then just that worshipper or worshippers both woke up and both started to look that, my gosh, how automatically this all money are going. Means all those money were being automatically, and there was not looking of any person, there was not looking of anything. When clergy men or women both saw that the money is going, then for some time both have started to think of that. I think this is the magic of God. I think there is mandatory of any rupees of any gods. That's why the god is taking away of this money. And both did not make a noise. I mean, both did not cry there. Both again live, lived in silent mode. When both lived in silent mode and all those money had been taken out from that place, then Griffin came in his room, and when Griffin came in his room, at that time exactly he was invisible, and the door was exactly open. At that times, Mrs. Hall reached in that place. When Mrs. Hall reached in that place at 12 o'clock night, then exactly she started to look the way of the room of Griffin. When she is looking inside of that room, then she is not looking scientist inside of that room. And Griffin was just there, means he was not invisible, he was exactly in invisible body. So sometime also Griffin started to think of that how to make fear her, and she started to he started to throw what chair, he started to throw also cap, means actually whole kinds of the clothes also, that all were on the bed of Griffin. Griffin started to do like of any mischieving. He started to throw the cap, he started to sack the chair, and also he started to throw pillow, he started to throw also bed sheet, as many kinds of the things it was inside of that Griffin room. Those all kinds of the things had been alive for some time. When Mrs. Hall was looking of that all kinds of the things have been alive, then she started to become what, like in a fit mind. When she started to become like in fit mind, then somehow she shut of that door, and after shutting of that door, just she went to running in her room, and just she is laid on her bed to gasping, means she started to pant very much. When her husband saw to gasping of Mrs. Hall, then just her husband started to say that, hey, what happened? Why are you gasping so much? Just Mrs. Hall started to say of that, means where that strange person is living in that room, there is not that person, means there is not Griffin, there is not of that scientist inside of that room, but all of the things have been alive inside of that room, because all of the kinds of the things inside of that rooms, it is moving. But when Mrs. Hall's husband heard of that matter, then just her husband started to think of that, my gods, I think really there is the soul of any ghost. And Mrs. Hall started to use the mind. I think previous some year, Mrs. Hall mother used to live in that same inn where Griffin is living right now. She started to think of that. I think my mother used to live in that room, and when she passed away, then at that times I did not give up any chair, I did not give up any pillow, I did not give up any clothes. That's why my mother's soul is tossing here and there. So she decided to take out of all those kinds of the things from the room of Griffin next day. And just next day, Mrs. Hall's husband called a necromancer. When necromancer came, and when necromancer started to read what, any abracadabra, then nothing impacted. When that necromancer reached the door of Griffin, and when the shutter was opened by Mrs. Hall and also by Mrs. Hall's husband, then just Mrs. Hall or her husband both are looking here. Griffin is still inside of this room. Again, Mrs. Hall is surprised, my God. When I went to closing of this door, at that time there was no griffin, but in this closed room, how did he enter? He started to conjecture like this matter. Means griffin means that Mrs. Hall and Mrs. Hall's husband means he or she means both started to speculate about of that matter. When Mrs. Hall went at that time, there was no any person, but how did he enter inside of this closed room? Till then also the matter of that temples. Also that matter came means all of the donation box money have been stolen by any person. When Mrs. Hall saw that on the bed there is so much money, then just Mrs. Hall started to think of that. I think which money has been stolen from that temples. I think that money has been stolen by this person. And when I was standing at night time the front of the store, at that times there was not looking of any persons. Only all of the kinds of the things in this room it was moving. I think also this deed is done by this person. I think he is like of any necromancer. He is like of any what guiler. He is like of any viler person. He is like of any deceiver person. So he just Griffin looked the way of Mrs. Hall, and Griffin started to smile, started to laugh the way of Mrs. Hall, like stupidly, means like foolishly. When Mrs. Hall saw that Griffin, just Mrs. Hall became too very angry, and Mrs. Hall said of that necromancer who had come there for taking out that soul of ghost from the room of that griffins. Just Mrs. Hall said of that necromancer, there is not need of for work. You can go. After that, necromancer went away from that place, and just Mrs. Hall called of that Bobby means constable. When constable came to arrest of that griffin, just griffin thought of that I will have to solve also my deed here, and just he used of that medicine. After that, just he put up that bandage, which bandage was in upper head of that griffin. Just he put up that. After putting of that, just his head became what? His head became like of headless, means there was not head in the body of griffin. All of the people, means as many peoples were gathered, all of the people started to look the way of griffin. My God, this person before some time he was looking exactly what? Headful, but this time he is looking headless. Where this person head, means this person head has gone. But when constable saw that headless person, also for some times he won't. He started to think of that, my God, who am I going to arrest? After that, just constable thought of that. This person is, why not this person is headless person, even if I will have to arrest because this is my duty. After that, he started to go the way of griffin for catching. After that, just griffin put up that overcoat, and he became what? Or wasteless. Only it was looking what? Leg. And one by one, he started to put on whole cloth. He became what? Invisible finally. When he became invisible, eventually, then just he started to beat up that all person, as many peoples had been gathered there. All those people had been beaten by Griffin. Griffin bat every person so much from all over the place. There was coming out the voice, catch him, catch him, catch him, catch him. Means from every directions in that place, the single voice was coming, catch him, catch him. The person who was crying much. Griffin also, he was beating of that person very much. When all of the people fainted, after beating, then Griffin fled away from that place. This story is over in this place. I am telling you my all dear student, if you have understood to completely part of that story, then I am telling you all student, like to me also you try to share completely part of that story concept with each another. I have told of you that story according of my own way, as I was knowing in the same way also I have recited the front of you. If you have understood that complete part of that story, then I'm telling you my all dear student, you see speaking completely part of that story, the front of your teacher, the front of more any other people who is apprehending to right concept of English, which is spoken by anybody, if any person who is understanding very, namely the person who is understanding to very smartly, you must talk with that person. If you will negotiate different kinds of the matter to inciting in your daily life, one day you will have lots of vocabulary, lots of the words. Because you are knowing already that nothing is impossible in this world for getting or doing. If your curious will be excited, then you can do any kinds of the things of this world. There will not be left of any kinds of the work in our life which will not be done by you. And if any student also this time who is feeling some deficiency of words, some absence of word, lackness of word, I am telling you all student, you try to complete some vocabulary forms or glossary. You search some words which is very difficult, which is very scarce, which is very complicated word. About of that complicated word, you search out exactly through the help of exactly from sort of vocabulary, and after knowing of that, you use daily use spoken words, daily use spoken sentences. If you use of that kinds of the words in that sentence, then day by day our word power will start to be increased, and one day you will have thousands of words. You have not need to be creaseless. You have to speak of any kinds of the things tirelessly. Endlessly you talk of any kinds of the matters. As any babbler who talks of any kinds of the matter, like that also you keep on talking. You do not think about of that matter. You do not visualize about of that matter. I will be mistaken. I will be murdered. I will be fumbled. I will be haggled. Such kinds of the matter you will not have to keep inside of the minds, and also will not have to speak to coming in pale-male mind. You will have to speak of those all kinds of the thing exactly like of consistency mind, as the people who speaks of any kinds of the matter the front of any words are to coming in very concentrate mind. In the same way also you keep on speaking, and also you speak in your daily life. This is the big advice for you all student by me. I hope you all people, you all students must follow whatever I have shared to you little bit that strategy, little bit that message for improving of our English speaking point. Thanks for today. It's so far. Again, I will visit in my next video. For till then, bye bye. Thank you.